what I did was I was always speaking to my phone. So it's a really good way to come out from it. So
Wow.
very practical. It worked for me, and
How?
hopefully.
Please tell us.
So
How were you speaking to? Is there an app on your
all you
phone?
need to do is just go to your recorder.
Okay.
To be fair, I never really spoke with anybody about the major thing that
Yeah.
was, affecting me, because I didn't really feel comfortable to talk about it. So,
Yeah.
sometimes you could be overly ambitious, and then when you
Yeah.
stall at a point, you just get so tired of life.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to talk about this thing is because I feel like it could help people. And I had dreams, I had hopes. I was like, oh, I'm going to be this by that. I'm going to do this by this time. I had my life all figured out,
Yeah.
But when things were not going as planned, that really took a toll on me. I had to self-motivate myself. I had to pick myself up. I had to look at people that, this person.
Welcome to In Her Space podcast, a safe space for raw and real conversations with women who have walked in those shoes. Unfiltered experiences makes it her space. Hosted by yours truly, Ivy Ekong. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of In Her Space podcast. Today, we are joined by a beautiful, beautiful guest of ours who I'll be introducing very soon. And it's going to be an amazing episode, so stay tuned. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who have sent us their questions, everyone who have sent us their feedback about the podcast. It's been so amazing. Honestly, I can't even believe how far we've come in only 2 months. And somebody was telling me, I thought you started this podcast like 2 years ago. I said, no, it's only been about 2 months ago. And I think you guys, our audience, have really made this so worth it and made it so special. So remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, In Her Space Pod. Instagram, TikTok, and every other platform, it's In Her Space Podcast. Every episode as well goes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and just anywhere you listen to your podcast. So remember to also subscribe to us there. Today's guest is Faith Temitope-Babatunde, right?
Yes.
Faith Temitope-Babatunde. She's a true example of resilience and reinvention. She's a banker and a business specialist at HSBC here in the UK, and the founder of a Faith Ehimwenma Foundation. She's an entrepreneur, and she started her entrepreneurial journey at the age of 16. Wow, amazing. So she started selling sachet water. I was really intrigued by this. Honestly, when my guest team gave me your profile and said this is her, like I was like that on my phone. I was oh wow, this is so inspiring. She started selling sachet water and recharge cards from her university hostel in Nigeria. And since then, from selling sachet water, she has built an empire for herself in the UK. And she has built multiple ventures, navigated a demanding corporate career, and poured her heart out into making real impact through her foundation. I cannot wait for all of you to hear her story. Very, very inspiring story. So if you have been going through any challenges and you feel you are stuck and you don't know how to move from where you are to the next level, then this episode is for you. Stay tuned. Welcome, Faith.
Thank you so much, Ivy.
So lovely to have you here in
Same
her
here.
space today. I hope you're well.
I am good. I'm
Okay.
super duper excited to be
Right,
here.
that's
I've been
good.
watching your podcast, like as I said when I came in, like it's so beautiful and
Thank
it's
you.
so unusual in a good way. It's not like other podcasts that I've come across. Very inspiring, and I'm so glad to be part of it here.
Thank you. That's so sweet, honestly. That encourages me. Okay, so you've been watching the podcast, so you know the first question coming, which is her space, where you are right now. What does having your own space mean to you as a woman, especially with all you do?
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
So first and foremost, having my own space is having the right people around me, because I know so many people will say, oh, this person is self-made and all that, but I feel like being in your own space means your space with good people, people that pour into you. And because if you keep pouring into people and they don't pour into you back, it's like you're pouring out of an empty cup, and
Yes, absolutely.
it's not going to work in the long run. So being in her space means being surrounded with amazing people. Secondly, being in her space means you have a voice, you
Yes,
know.
absolutely.
Yeah, being able to speak out, being able to share your journey to other women, other young girls, youths, and everyone across. So yeah, I would say those two main points are like the major things I would say being in her space means for me.
For you.
Yeah.
That's really good. I think that's a good point to sort of share. And it's so important to have our space
Yeah.
as women. Very, very important. You've been open about facing depression. Can you take us back to the moment when you realized something had to change? And what did rediscovering your purpose mean? So that's like two questions
Yeah.
for you at once. So yeah.
Okay,
So first, take us back to the moment when you realized something had to change,
yeah.
and yeah, go
So
from there.
I think the moment when I felt like something really, really had to change was, I know it may sound cliche, but it's when I started like having kids,
Okay.
especially with my daughter. I wanted a situation whereby she had someone to look up to, because I've always been somebody that wanted to, have someone to look up to as well. Even in business, even in anything, I know I would go back and browse through Google to check on what this person has done in this sphere of business and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I knew that something had to change when I had my first kid. And I was like, I want a situation whereby she doesn't have to search too far. Her mom is right there. She's an example. She's an exemplary person that I can look up to.
Yeah.
And how do I do that? It's by rediscovering myself. It's by, shaping myself to somebody that she can look up to.
Up to
So
like an
that
example.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really good. So what did rediscovering your purpose actually look like in real life? Because when you've experienced depression, sometimes it's really hard to
Yeah.
make that shift.
Yeah.
And depression is not something that that you can see. I can be depressed now and I'll be laughing with you and
Yeah.
you would know.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I think a lot of people that actually experience depression, they do not feel really seen or heard,
Yeah.
because when you have like an injury, you can quickly go to the hospital
so
and then they'll
internalized,
see
yeah.
it and they'll treat it. But when someone keeps saying, I'm going through like a mental challenge, a
Yeah.
lot of people don't take it, really seriously.
Yeah.
And it can be hard to really make that
100%,
shift.
yeah.
Do you understand? And get through on the other side. So how did you do that? Because I really want you to help anyone listening that is also going through a similar situation.
Yeah.
How do you move from that shift and can come out on the other side and say, wow, I was able to do this?
Yeah. So first and foremost, when I spoke about being in her space, I said something about surrounding yourself with amazing people. I know that when you are in a stage of a depressive state, in a state where you don't want to speak to anyone and all that stuff, it's really, really essential that you surround yourself with amazing people.
Yeah.
So the first step I did to come out of there was to have like great people around me. people that could speak life, that could speak joy into me, and try to shed off people that just drained my energy. I had some friends whereby I would talk to them, and after then, it's like they've drained the life.
You're more drained, yeah.
It's like a lock in my body.
Wow.
And sometimes, because of the kind of person that I am, and I feel like some other people would be like that, I could be going through my own challenges, but I wouldn't say anything. And I would still be trying to give joy to somebody else. And you don't know that I'm actually going through that. And then you're not just there, bombarding. You're not even asking how you're doing. You're just talking about your own self. You get what I mean? That can even add to my own depression. But when you do, surround yourself
filtering. So you did like a filtering.
Exactly.
Yes, you filtered.
And in fact, an ultra filtration of friends, of people that I did not need in my life. So if you want to like get out of that space, number one, don't seclude yourself. Don't say, oh, I need to like just keep to myself. No, because I know, when you're in that state, all you are just thinking about is I want to be on my own.
Yes.
If you do that, then you're not going to get out of it.
That was actually my next question. You've just, like, I was going to ask, how did you start talking about it? Because talking about it helps, isn't it?
Of course, it does. It does. I'm going to get to that part.
Okay.
But first of all, like, you don't need to, like, seclude yourself. You need to, like, speak, even if it's not about what you're going through. Because some things are so heavy, you cannot say it out, which is fine. But you can just talk about normal random things, but with people that are not draining you. Try as much as possible not to guilt trip yourself, to be with people that are, just taking the energy the life out of you. Be selfish when you are in that state.
Yes.
Absolutely. Be selfish. And when I mean be selfish, for your own good. Like, just think about it like, I need to do this for myself. You've got to go. I'm sorry, you've got to go. I need new friends, or, I need this new person. Because some people are so like, me and this person, we've been together for like 10 years and 20 years.
So I cannot cut that cord.
Yes. I can't bond the bridge.
Even when it's not
longer. Exactly. It's not suiting you. Yeah, it's not serving you anymore.
Properly, yes.
So if it's not serving you, then just let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Yeah.
Okay. So back to the other question. How did you begin to talk about it? So was that healing as well?
Of course. I will be very practical with you. I did not start talking to people straight up. What I did was I was always speaking to my phone. So it's a really good way to come out from it. So very practical. It worked for me, and hopefully...
How? Please tell us, how were you speaking to? Is there an app on your phone?
All you need to do is just go to your recorder.
Okay.
And just talk. Just bear it all.
Oh, wow. Though it feels like you're talking to a therapist that you cannot see.
100%. So before the advent of ChatGPT and all that stuff, I was already like struggling with my whole, state of mind. So what I would just do is go to my phone, tap on the voice recorder, look at the mirror, and I'll start talking.
Wow.
You could cry, you could vent, you could do whatever.
Yeah.
And you just talk. And before you know it, you're laughing, you're okay.
Yeah, you feel you've let it out.
You've let it out.
No judgment.
No judgment. It's just you, it's your God, and, your phone. Yeah, so it's a very practical way. And once you start doing that once, twice, and you're getting into the rhythm, later on, you can now start. The truth of the matter is, to be fair, I never really spoke with anybody about the major thing that was, affecting me, because I didn't really feel comfortable to talk about it. So if you're someone, right, that whatever is putting you down or holding you down that you're thinking about, and you feel like you could never in a million years talk about it, you can actually talk to yourself about it. Just take your phone, talk through it all on your voice recorder, and it works magic.
Wow, that's really good. I mean, well done. Honestly, well done. That helped, and I know that anyone listening to this right now would also have learned something. I have learned something as well today.
You have.
I mean, I'd love to know what started your depression and how, but I don't want to pry. When you're comfortable, if you want to share, you can share. If you don't want to share, that's fine. happen. As long as you're okay, that's
Yeah.
all that, really matters.
It's to be fair, right? It's a couple of like things, but I
Okay.
would say one of the major things that actually made me a bit depressed is the fact that sometimes you could be overly ambitious, and then when you
Yeah.
stall at a point, you just get so tired of life.
Okay. Yes.
You get
That
like,
happens to a lot of us.
yeah. So I want to talk about this thing is because I feel like it could help people. So if
Yeah.
I don't want to like hide too much, but I would say one of the things is because I graduated at 20,
Okay.
at the age of 20, I graduated really young, and I had dreams, I had hopes. I was like, oh, I'm going to be this by that. I'm going to do this by this time. I had my life all figured out,
Wow. Yeah.
But when things were not going as planned, that really took a toll on me, and I feel like it could also happen to a lot of people, especially when someone that is so like organized and you just have your life kind of like
Yes.
planned out,
Yes.
and then things
Yes.
are not going according to plan.
Yeah.
You just spiral out
You
of
just
control.
figure up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe in horoscope? What's your
Of course I do. Do
what's your birth
you?
sign?
Pisces.
Pisces.
I
Oh,
am.
my daughter is a Pisces.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
now
love
that you're
her.
saying
I love
that,
her
it makes a
already.
lot of sense because you guys are so organized.
Yeah.
You literally write out your whole, like she writes,
Yeah.
she knows what she's doing next month,
Of
even
course.
up to the next 6 months.
1
And
billion
she's just
percent.
15.
Yeah.
She is so organized. And I always tell her, slow down, have fun with life. Everything doesn't have to be so serious. Sometimes get outside of your notes that you go to have a look and
Yeah.
just have fun.
Yeah.
Your life is about fun.
Yeah.
So now that you said that,
Yeah.
it does make a lot of
It's so
sense.
funny.
Why, and when you are that way,
Yeah.
and when your plans that you've made
Yeah.
is not going the way you want it to go,
Yeah.
you can be depressed
Yeah.
because you're seeing all your plan. You're like, why am I not accomplishing this?
Yeah.
Why am I not doing
Yeah.
that? And it puts an added pressure
100%.
on you.
Yeah.
Whereas there's a universe, there's God who decides every other thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes those plans you've written down may not be even what God wants for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I always tell her. And she's
Yeah.
going to watch this
She
episode.
should. Hey, Pisces girl.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. So did your idea of success shift during your journey? When you were depressed? Did it shift your idea of success? Like, did you get to a point where you felt, I just need to be well first? I don't, all these things
Yeah.
that I'm even depressed about
Yeah.
doesn't matter. This, I think, is what matters more. Did it get to that point or?
To be honest, no.
No.
I'm gonna be so honest
You're
with
an
you.
overachiever.
Yeah. I won't lie. If I tell you that I sat in one place for long and no, I just couldn't. I had to keep it moving. I just had to keep it moving because, again, when you're someone that just has everything like written out, on a sheet of paper in your heart or
Yes.
whatever,
Yeah.
of course, life will be lifing. Things will happen.
Yeah.
And you will get into this state where you just want to hide into your shell and all that.
yeah.
But I would do that for some time and then I would pick myself up. As I said, I would always speak to my phone. It's so practical. In as much as it sounds so tiny, because the tiniest things that we overlook are actually
Probably the most important.
100%. We're walking around with a gadget, a machine that is kind of like something that just heals, but we don't know. We keep running around looking for help and it's just right there with us. So I would go into that state, but at the time I will have to tell myself that you need to keep moving. You just need to keep
pick yourself
you
up.
need to pick
Yes.
yourself up. And how did I do this? I had people that I was looking up to. There's this woman, Ngozi Okonjo.
Okonjo, yes,
Waila.
yes. Yeah.
She studied economics like I did
I
in
did
school.
economics as well in
Look at
school.
you, girl. And when I'm in my state of, depression and all that stuff, I'll be like, girl, haven't you seen her the way she is?
Yes,
If
yeah.
you behave this way,
You would not.
you will not get there.
Oh, wow.
You get
That's
what I
really
mean?
good.
So I
Good
always
motivation. Yes,
I know
yeah.
I always had to self-motivate myself. I had to pick myself up. I had to look at people that, this person is doing this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I need to,
I can do
I
it
can
too.
do it.
Yes.
But, life will always come. Things will always happen where
Yeah.
you just shrugged in and all that. I can't do this anymore and all. But I have to turn back and then look at her again, and then, oh, she's now the chairman of the World Trade. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Depression, hold on. Yeah, you were saying you're the
Let me button up my
you were
my
saying
shoes.
what?
My shoes.
You said what? Okay, I'm coming.
Yeah. That's good.
Like,
That's good. Well done. That's really
you.
good. I think that's a mindset that
Yeah.
a lot of us need to have, and a lot of
100%,
people
yeah.
need to have. Just that I can do it mindset no
Yeah,
matter what.
no
It
matter
doesn't mean that
what.
there won't be like challenges on
Challenges.
the way, but the goal is that you can do it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about your relocation to the UK.
Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of Nigerians, as you know already, I think they want to relocate to the UK. Sometimes I think a lot of people feel it's like a walk in the park.
Really?
Yes, when they
They
come,
do.
when
Oh,
you
when they
know,
come.
when they
Oh,
come
oh,
here,
I see,
like,
yeah.
so what was your mindset? Oh, okay, you moved to the UK with you were 5 months pregnant, right?
I think so. I think about 5-6 months.
Pregnant, and you had a 5-year-old as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. And that was really incredible for you
Yeah.
to be just move your
It
whole
was
life
tough.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes, very similar to me too.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I moved to the UK while I was pregnant with my daughter.
Yeah.
And I was already fully established in Nigeria. I had to, because I was an ex-beauty queen.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
you. I
so
see
I
that.
did it. I was very well known. Did a lot of pet projects with
Yeah.
Obasanjo at that
Oh,
time.
wow.
Then our government, it was good. It was we found some pictures some days ago, and my kids were looking at it. And then leaving that and then coming here to join my husband in a place where I didn't know anybody. Yeah, it's quite a long story. It was really hard, but of course, I'm a very determined person. So,
I love
yeah.
that. Love to hear that.
Okay, so what was your mindset at the time, and how did you keep going when things got tough?
So my mindset was to start my life over again. I felt like moving to a new country was like a rebirth for me. I had stayed in my home country, Nigeria, for for about 28. How old was I then when I moved? I think 28, 29 years or so, maybe 28. And I just felt like being here now, it's a second chance. Like, okay, you have another chance at life.
Yeah.
You're being reborn.
Yes,
You're going to learn new things, learn how to do things that are different from the way you were doing things before in your country.
Yeah.
You are going to meet different people and all that. So the mindset I had when I came in here was the mindset of being reborn.
Okay.
Like a rebirth.
Yes.
Like a second chance.
Yeah.
Like I can start my life over
Yes.
again. So that was what I felt like. And it was challenging because, of course, it's a new place. It's rebirth. You have to start learning things. It wasn't easy, especially having to navigate motherhood as well.
As well. Yeah.
In a new
being
country.
pregnant with a child.
Yeah. And my husband had to work. I think because he's a medical doctor, so he had to work like 2 weeks off and then 2 weeks on. And so the 2 weeks he would not be home. It's just me and my daughter, and I'm pregnant. And again, I started working because, of course, I just have to do something. That's me. So it was so like everything was just like, oh my God, what am I doing? You know? Yeah. It was tough at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
For you. you made it through because now you're like, you're
Well,
successful.
I'm still working through it.
You're successful. And yes, I think that's a really beautiful
Yeah.
story to share. So, did you experience any cultural shock at all here when you came?
Um,
As a migrant, especially, and as a mom trying to rebuild her life. So, did you experience anything you were not expecting
yeah.
in terms of cultural shock here?
Um, well, not really in a very intense way because my mom had traveled out
Okay.
before.
Okay.
So she would tell me stories about
Okay.
how it is over here.
Okay.
So she had gone on holidays with my dad previously before they even had me. So she had told me one or two things, like she used to tell me back then of how she went out with my dad and his friends, and it was his friends, that's my dad's friends, that invited them to go out for the dinner. And it got to a point when they were like, okay, it's time to pay. And my mom was like, why are we paying? You invited us to the
Yeah.
dinner.
London. Welcome to London.
Yeah. My mom was like, no, what? We were sitting quietly in our house. You invited. Why are we going to pay? And before you know it, my dad was already putting his hands in his pocket and paying. My mom was like, so that was a huge shock for her.
Shock.
However, she kind of prepared me for that, So
Yeah.
it when I came here, it wasn't too much of a shock when I started, like, because she had already told me stories.
Yes.
However, it was how navigating motherhood. That one was a shock for me because I realized that when I had my daughter in Nigeria and I had my son here.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was like two
Two different
different,
experiences.
yeah. So no one to help. Unlike when I had my daughter, it was like a community.
Yes.
When they say it takes a
It takes a
community,
village back
it
home.
takes a village.
Does.
It's
Yes.
it literally takes a village.
Yeah.
So with my daughter, I had help. My mom was there.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, even one auntie that is just walking by could just be like, oh, where are you going? Okay, don't worry, I'll keep her.
Yes,
Go
I'll
and
help.
do
Yeah.
your stuff.
Yeah.
But here
It's very different. Very, very different.
very
Yeah.
different.
I
Yeah.
think that was also a shocker to me as
Yeah.
well. But thankfully, I had people that will come from home to come
Yeah.
and stay with me, like my mom, my mother-in-law, my sisters.
Yeah.
It still felt a little bit, but like a community, but nothing like what it is
Over there,
back.
yeah.
So you had a full-time banking job and you
yeah.
launched an online restaurant. How is your restaurant doing?
It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
So how did that idea even come, to life? Why did you just think of a restaurant
I
to
know.
start as a
I
business?
know.
Do you know how to cook very well? Are you a foodie? Like,
I'm a
tell us a bit
foodie
more.
and I'm a foodie.
Okay.
I love to eat.
Make sure you tell us the name of your restaurant as well, where it's located.
Yeah, I'm
in
a
case people want to
foodie.
come.
Yeah, I'm a foodie. I love to eat, and my husband enjoys my food, and anybody at all that I cook for is always like, oh my days, But the truth is, I never wanted, because everyone would always say, open a business, have a restaurant and all that. Especially my mom.
Okay.
Anytime she would eat my food, she would be like, see, my daughter. See, okay, let me look for money and go and open. If you don't want to open, let me open for you. You get, but I never wanted to do it because I just felt like cooking was more therapeutic for me.
For you.
So when I was even going through my whole state and all that back then,
yeah.
I would cook just to like release all the tension because it felt like I was making something brand new. So cooking was very therapeutic for me. So I didn't see it as
creative as
yeah,
well.
exactly. So I didn't see it as something I wanted to make money from, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, but it came up as a need. So what happened was I was staying in Birmingham at some point, and then I had to go join my husband at North Yorkshire, Scarborough.
Okay.
So when I got there, it's kind of like not as diverse as Birmingham is. So there were a few Nigerians and all that, and I just felt like there was a need for us to have African dishes, for us to be able to eat, like, like a go-to place to, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I decided to say, okay, fine. Because of my really demanding 9 to 5 job, being a banker, I was like, okay, I can't have a store. I would do it online, you know, like, okay, so when I come back from work, I'll just make the food and, you know, so it just started really small, like, okay, for the community where just to
Just to
serve a
service.
need. Yes,
Yes,
just
a
to serve a
need.
need.
Yeah.
I saw that it was needed. And that's one thing about business, you know, people would always say passion. When you ask somebody, why are you going into this business? And the person will be like, oh, I'm so passionate about it. Okay. Let's see how that passion takes you to like how many years from now.
Yeah.
For me, one of the determining factors to start a business is a need. You must be able to identify if it is that your service that you're trying to give
To give
is
needed.
needed. Because you could be so passionate about something and people don't want it. And when you're giving it out there and people don't want it, would just make you sad. And that whole passion you have would be, you know, just go down the drain.
Yeah.
So you really need to ask yourself the first thing, is there a need? If there's no need, don't even bother, to be honest.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
As a businesswoman myself,
yeah.
I definitely agree with you because yes, your passion will take you, but it can only take you so far because you're starting a business.
Yeah.
Because you want to be patronized. So if you don't have what someone wants to patronize, then you don't have a business.
You don't at all. Yeah.
Okay. So what advice would you give to women who have a dream, but feel like their current life doesn't have room for it?
So just hold on to that dream. Don't throw it out. If your current life, right, doesn't fit to your dream, don't just fold it and throw it off. Hold on to it. Keep adding more dreams to that. Don't. I know
Never
it's so
stop
counter.
dreaming.
Yeah. I know what I'm saying might be like, okay, what are you talking about? If your current life, let's say for instance, where you are at the moment, you just feel like, I'm dreaming to be like, let me say something like, okay, the first female president of Nigeria.
Yeah.
And you have not even been able to attend school, but just keep dreaming. Keep adding to that dream. Keep looking at female presidents.
Yes.
You know, like Ellie Johnson, other female presidents. Keep looking at them, and you will get there.
Yeah.
I read a book. I think it's by Buchi Amecheta,
Okay.
A Second Chance.
Oh,
so it was
second chance.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
talking about I think second class citizen. Sorry.
Okay, second class citizen.
Second class citizen. So it was a story about how she navigated coming from Nigeria to the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And she had like kids. I think how many kids did she have? Like 5 children and a very abusive, non-supportive husband. And yet she had a dream of becoming a top writer. How would she do that when anytime she writes her novels, once her husband sees the manuscripts, he just flings them off, he burns them, he throws them.
Wow.
But she kept writing. She kept doing it and doing it over and over again. She would write and write and write. And she's one of like the top
published author now
of all time in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So I would say that if your current situation doesn't align with your dream, don't stop dreaming.
Yes.
As long as you can dream it, you can do it.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good advice. I think basically consistency. Be
100%.
consistent and keep dreaming.
Yeah.
Okay. So your foundation serves children, women, and sickle cell warriors.
Yeah.
What led you to create that charity?
I need to take a deep breath because I don't want to be emotional here.
Oh, you can't be. It's safe. It's a safe space. If you need to do you want to have a sip of water before you start?
I think I need to.
Yes, have a sip of water. Take a deep breath and yes, let us know.
Thank you.
And whatever you say, you're inspiring someone, even though it's one person that you can speak to who listens to the sound of your voice and feel inspired and think, okay, I can do this too. Then you've done your job.
Yeah. So the birth of my foundation started years ago. I think precisely 2013, when I lost a very close dear friend to me. We we kind of like met, not kind of, we were roommates in 100 level.
Okay.
And I never knew she had sickle cell because, like, I remember the first day I met her, she was like the most beautiful person I had ever met. So beautiful. And I was telling my mom, I was like, Mommy, this girl, she's so beautiful. My mom was like, see, pack your things and get into that hostel.
Yeah.
And she was so nice to me. She was like, no, come, because I didn't have a room to stay in the school. I think the day I came in was on a Sunday and the student services, they weren't in. So she was like, oh, come with me. And then she took my things and she was so nice.
Yeah.
I never knew she had sickle cell, right?
Wow.
So we just like had this bond. And then we had like, I think we kind of like had a business. Somebody came to sell clothes and said, okay, both of us should sell. So we divided them into two. And then I was selling mine and then she was selling hers. If, for instance, mine is not enough, I will go to her room and then collect some clothes and then sell. So in 200 level...
We're hustling right from day one. I love that.
I don't think I've ever had a break. I think at 200 level, my clothes had finished up. So I was like, oh, I need to go to her room to go get. And then they were like, oh, didn't you hear she hasn't been in school? And I was like, what do you mean? They said, she had crisis and she has sickle cell. I was like, sickle cell? She has sickle cell? So that was when I knew. And she didn't come to school throughout that session, throughout that level.
Yeah.
And because of that, she had to, because she was in 200 level, sorry, oops.
Yeah.
She wasn't, at the end of the day, when we came back to the same level, then we started being really close. And I kind of like understood everything that she was going through at that time. And by my final year, our closeness was really strong. But because we had this NYC thing that we used to have in Nigeria, so we just kind of like separated, but we still kept in touch. And then all of a sudden, someone called me and said, oh, she passed.
Wow.
So that was like the turning point for me that kind of bettered my foundation, because even while she was going through what she was going through as a sickle cell warrior, she always touched the lives of other sickle cell warriors as well. Because I remembered back then in school, there was someone that had sickle cell and she would leave like the hostel and go give that person money to like, you know, have this for food, have that for food. So I felt like, I felt like this is what she would want. She would want, you know, to be remembered as such. Yeah. So I think that was where it came up from. And then the other spheres of my foundation also came from like my own journey.
Personal journey.
Yes, my own personal journey, because I want to be able to empower women. I want to be able to teach women skills as well. You know, not only about 9-to-5 jobs, because I also have a lot of skills in my belt as well. So I want to be able to share that using my foundation to be able to impact into the lives of young women and even children.
Okay, that's amazing. That's you know, I had similar experiences like you as well. Had a best friend at that time, my first ever like real important friendship. And she also passed from sickle cell. And they are usually one of the most amazing people in the world. I don't even know why they are like that. You just talking about your friend. She's like that. She's very giving. She's very caring. She puts every other person's problem onto her shoulder. And I don't know why they are like that. I don't know, but she was just one of the most you know, beautiful human being that I've ever known till today.
Yeah.
You know,
when she passed, when my friend passed and I was crying, and the thing I will always say is, I don't even know why I met you. I shouldn't have even met you because you were just too nice.
Too
like
good.
You just set the bar. Like why did you have to, you know? That's what I always say, because we got close at a very short time, but it was so good.
So good,
And that was what impacted, you know, the birth of my foundation.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
That was how influential.
And it's still today. You're still running your foundation and still keeping her memory alive. Well done.
Thank
well
you.
done. Okay, so what have been some of the most humbling, powerful moments since launching your foundation? Moments that have been really humbling for you?
It's just literally seeing the smile on children's faces. You know, kids that have been in the orphanage. We recently did something like the first of its kind that they've ever done in Edo State. That was May 27th, Children's Day. So we brought together two orphanages together.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, usually people would go to the orphanages and drop things.
Yes.
But I wanted to bring a lasting memory to the mind of the child or any child there.
Yeah.
So I was like, I would bring one orphanage, another orphanage, bring them together. They will have a whole party, have a ball, keep the memories. And that was what I wanted.
Yeah.
And just seeing one child from one orphanage and another child from another orphanage being friends, that was so good to see.
Friendships.
Yeah, that was so good to see, because usually they just only know themselves in that orphanage. So I'm always thinking in my mind, like, how do they cope? Like,
it can be very lonely.
Yeah.
You know, and then they see other people once in a while when you come to drop off like stuff for them, Christmas on all those seasons. Yeah, it's not an easy place for a child to be, honestly. You're wearing a lot of hats as a mother, a wife, a career woman, businesswoman, you know. How do you balance that? Do you believe in balancing? Because some people say there's nothing like balancing, you know. I have to do this, and then that other side will suffer a bit, you know, whatever it is. But how do you believe that there's no balancing, and you know, if your career is thriving, your family suffers. If your family is thriving, your career suffers. How do you, you know, what is your take on that, and how do you balance?
Yeah. So if you've asked me this question like last year, I would have been like, oh yeah, we can really balance things up.
So you are for those people that said there's no balancing.
I don't know. You know what? I don't even know if that's the word you get, but I wouldn't say I balance it well. I wouldn't come here to say, oh my God, I'm like the chairman, director of balancing things. But I would say again, in your space, keep wonderful people, keep supportive people. It cannot be overemphasized.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, like my mom, you know, she's been helping me, you know, raise my kids as well.
Yeah.
Whilst I do what I have to do, because again, I want to set an example for my daughter, for my children, for my son, for my daughter, and I don't want a situation whereby, okay, what are they going to see? A mom that would come saying, oh, it's because of you guys I didn't do this, so it's because of you people I was trying to take care of you, that is why I did not do what I wanted to do. You get what I mean? My mom was like, I don't want you doing that, don't worry, go do what you've got to do. I trained you, I took care of you, don't worry, I'll do that. So that's why I say you cannot leave out having amazing people around you. And then again, having a partner.
Yes.
You know,
that is so, for me, I mean, personally, I can say that is probably the most important.
Yeah.
Having a partner.
Having a partner. Supportive. Yeah. There is something I'm trying to do right now that I was writing something out about one of the things a career woman must do when she's going on a first date. And don't go there. Number one thing is don't go there eating fish and chips and just, you know, go there like you're going for an interview. State who you are. Tell the man that, see, I'm an ambitious woman, I'm this, I'm that. If he can't take the heat, he should go.
That's true.
He should go. Because you have to set a precedent that first date. Yes. When there are no feelings, when you can't, you know, hide yourself and be like, oh, I don't want to say I'm an ambitious. I don't want to be too ambitious so that he will not run away.
Yeah.
That day, just say who you are. If he's not happy with it, move.
Yes.
And let those that want to, you know, support you come true.
Yeah.
So I think with my partner, with my husband, he knew right from time that this girl
is very ambitious.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's somebody that loves her business.
Yes.
She wants to grow in her career. From the first time we met, we're not talking about anything, the weather or the food or whatever. Yeah. I was already asking him, what do you want to do? I'm doing this. What are you doing? We're already talking, you know. So he already knew that this person is, you know,
He's ambitious with my husband too.
So if now I'm saying I want to do this, he already understands.
Yes.
He's not shocked that, where is this coming from?
Yes.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand that there are some people that they don't get it at the beginning. For instance, like you might not have been someone that had like this entrepreneurial thing at the start, and then maybe some years in marriage it started or whatever.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Yes, I get that. But always show your true self, especially on your first date, so that your husband or your partner can be very supportive of your journey ahead.
And they are aware as well, you know, because a lot of women, there are a lot of women who say, we want to wait. We're not going to work. We want to focus on the kids, which is absolutely fine because honestly, raising a child is not
even a whole job.
Yes. So a lot of women say, we prefer to wait when our child is like 18 and, you know, goes to start his or her own life, then our life begins. Which is amazing if that's what you want to do. But I think I personally have just never been somebody who can sit in a place. I'm so restless in that way because I think I have been very, very independent from a very young age. And then when I won a beauty queen in Nigeria and I started modeling, I was exposed to a lot of like money. I was working with UNICEF. I was working with like some of the biggest charity and outside of the country. I was working with the president, the governors, ministers, senators. I had a lot of I saw a lot of money. When you talk about millions, money. So I was not going to get married and just sit down after experiencing that life. And my husband met me doing that. I met my husband the moment I handed my crown to the next queen. And so he came and he saw that this woman already has like a life, not just a life, such a glamorous life, because there was a time they published like a book of some of the who and who people in Nigeria, and I was on page 3 of it. And I told my husband, they've added me to, you know, who he was like, okay, that's really good, you know. I'm sure in his mind then he's like, I have to like, I need to work even harder to be able to marry this woman. You know, and then when we got married, a lot of people were telling him, you're getting married to our queen. You better look after her. You better, you know, and he was like, no problem. So he always knew I could have gotten married and sat at home doing nothing and I would still be fine. I wouldn't even need to worry for anything. And a lot of my friends used to say, why are you even bothering? You know,
I get
why
that
are you
too.
worrying yourself? Your husband is successful. Just sit at home, you know. And I will always say, I feel I'm just going to gradually just die away because like what would I be without doing something with the brain I was given, you know. So I understand your journey, and of course a lot of women have the, should I say, the pleasure to do that, but a lot of women don't as well. They just, you know, especially if you have a child with special needs and all that. What's something you wish people understood about your journey that are often overlooked?
I would say it's most people, especially back home, they feel like I was very privileged, you know, but it's me that wore the shoe that knows where
it hurts.
So from outside, people would really like look at my family, especially like my nuclear family, and be like, oh, she's got it all and everything.
Are you from a popular family, Nigeria?
So my mom, she was from, I don't know how I'm going to put that, because her dad was a very influential businessman. So, and he was really like really, really big. However, it didn't really transcend, especially when he passed away. You know, misappropriation of the wealth, of the funds, you know, within the family. So it didn't really like trickle down, you know, to other generation. You get what I mean? So that really impacted. However, people felt like, oh, you know, when they see me, they'll be like, oh, she's not the, you know,
fine.
You get, but
she's sorted.
But it wasn't that easy. You know, my mom, she's a really strong woman.
Yeah.
So even while she was going through all that she was going through, I didn't even know. She made sure I was very comfortable. You know, she made sure that we looked comfortable, like we could literally be the same level with other, like, you know, children.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that easy at home. So most people would feel like, oh, she got it all. But yeah, that wasn't my story at all.
Okay. So you won't be like, if I ask you now, do you have it all? You know, when I mean have it all,
Yeah.
you know, children, what you're currently doing,
Yeah.
can you say with every confidence that you have it all?
Through the grace of God, we have it all.
Yeah, that's a good answer. You know, that's good. I
Yeah.
mean, because I think having it all, everybody has a definition of that. And that's why I said, can
Yeah.
you say? Because
Yeah.
some people, having it all means they have a loaded bank account. They have, you know,
Yeah.
for some other people, having it all means they have kids who love them.
Exactly.
And, you know, who they love.
Yeah.
And for some other people, it just means they have a partner.
Yeah.
But for some other people, it just, you know, it is a different interpretation
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
So your own interpretation is that you do have it all.
I by the grace of God, I would say that, because if I say I don't have it all, I feel like it would be very hurtful to, again, the amazing people that are around me.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like,
Yes.
people that have, you know, stood by me through thick and thin, and I would just say I don't have it all. What about them? Like, they've really poured into me, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate them. So
Yeah.
with them alone, you know, my husband, my mom, my children, you know, my manager, who has been so wonderful in terms of
Yeah.
like my foundation,
Yeah.
you know, everything. Like, of course, when you have people like that around
Like
you,
that. Yeah.
seeing the smile of children, the sickle cell warriors that we have impacted
Yeah.
as well,
Yes.
of course.
Of course, you have it all.
Yeah.
I definitely resonate with that.
Yeah.
And once you admit to that, then you know, I think it just opens more door because it's gratitude.
Yeah,
You
it
know, you're
is.
grateful
Contentment.
for contentment. You're
Yeah.
grateful for whatever you have. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, my next question is: if your younger self, if you were sitting with your younger self right now, what would you tell her?
Faith, be consistent. That's what I'm going to say, because there were some ventures that I did and I was like, okay, I don't think this is, let me move. No. And now I'm seeing like other people who have been like consistent, and I tell myself like, if you had just stayed a
Done it.
little
Little
longer,
longer.
where would you have been by now? So I would say, if I would tell my younger self, just be consistent no matter what. You can take breaks. Breaks are allowed, but not too long. And
Yeah.
then pick yourself up, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the one moment, good or bad, that you feel has changed your life forever? Like something you know you're going to take with you that has left a mark on you, that you will take with you for the rest of your life.
That is such, I think I'm still in that journey, honestly speaking.
So you've not had any like life, anything that has scarred you in a good way or a bad way in life? That's good, because it's not a lot of people that can say that.
I have had, but the thing is that because I'm still
You're
living.
still a work in
Yes,
progress.
I'm still a work in progress. You get so, and I'm into so many things, and I'm even getting into so many things now that is so scary.
Okay.
You know, it's really daunting for me at the moment. So I feel like I have a lot to learn,
Yeah.
and I would say like I won't say I've even regretted anything, because they have brought me up to where I am today.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I have one major thing that has really like because I've passed through, I've gone through all that stage.
Yeah.
And even during my whole depressive state as well, when I've gone through that, I've gotten to that point whereby I'm so grateful
Yeah.
to that stage, and it has brought me to this
stage where
yeah.
you are. Yes.
So I wouldn't say there's one, because I'm still a work in
Yeah.
progress.
Okay.
Ivy.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that was not the answer you were looking for, but
Yeah,
seriously, I'm like,
most people do always say, "Oh, this happened," and I would never forget. And I think for you probably be your friend that passed, your friend that had sickle cell, because I think
well,
that has left a mark on you that you even had to
true,
go start an
actually, though.
organization
Okay, now you
for
see.
her. So that is because she's probably so there are
Yeah,
people. There are people that come into your life and go because that's how life is made
yeah,
to be.
yeah.
It's not everyone that is supposed to stay till the
Oh my
end.
God, I wish you stayed.
Some people come and some people go. Sometimes we lose some of the best ones as well. Um, but from your friend and the
Yeah,
impact she's had on you,
yeah,
I
well.
think she's going to be a memory you will keep forever.
100% though, yeah, yeah. I would
Yeah.
have even used her name as it, but I didn't want like the whole family and saying, oh, this, that, blah, blah,
Yes,
blah.
yes,
But that was
yes,
how
yes.
impactful she was. So,
So that's it.
well, we can take that. We can
That's
take
it.
that.
I've helped you out a little bit
Thank
there.
you.
Okay, so that's the end of our interview.
Oh,
Asked our audience to send us some questions,
yeah.
and we've had some of the most,
Oh my days.
like some of the most craziest questions that I have ever had. So it was a lot of questions, and I've
Yeah.
just narrowed down a few
Okay.
for us to answer today. I think you will help me a little bit.
I hope so.
Some are really fascinating, and we'll answer them. As I speak, we are still getting emails of
Oh
questions.
my God.
So the first one, which I wanted to really talk about was this. She said, I was invited on a holiday by my boyfriend.
Yeah.
So I assumed he was covering the trip. But when we got there, he asked me to split the bills.
Okay.
Hotels, meals, everything. Like what sort of it? I was in shock. Was I wrong to expect him to pay since he invited me? Faith, what do you think? Like, what is wrong with the men of these days?
Princess
Are they
men.
even men anymore?
Princess men.
What?
But it depends though, okay? We could look at it
You think it
analytically.
depends?
So it depends on the
Okay.
ethnicity. You get what I mean?
Okay, we don't do that where we come from.
Exactly.
We don't do
We
that.
do.
No, we don't do that. No.
You
Well,
know,
unless maybe the ones that were born here.
so that's why I said that it depends on where they are from. If you're from like Africa, especially Nigeria, where I come from,
Yeah.
the man on his own, he knows that he is the one that is going to foot
Yes.
the bill. And if he doesn't have the money, there's no discussion of any.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
There's no discussion.
No discussion about.
Okay,
Especially when who invited who,
so he invited her.
and now you say.
So why didn't he tell her
Yeah.
that, okay, I'm inviting you, but I'll need you to foot some
Yeah.
of the bills? Because at least, let her know.
Exactly.
So, lady, I hope you're not still
Yeah.
with this man, because,
I know.
personally, if my daughter comes and tells me, oh, mommy, no.
Yeah.
I'm telling her, dump him
Yeah.
immediately. Like, because if you're inviting someone for a trip, you want to have a good time with her as well.
Exactly.
And then you want her to pay for her meal, even something as simple as a meal.
Especially during the dating phase, like you are trying to woo her, you're trying to get her.
No, she did say my boyfriend.
Yeah,
So they are dating,
They're
yeah.
dating, yeah. So you're not even married, whereby, when you're married, sometimes you could be like, oh, okay, let me just take charge of this one, and let you get what I mean. But during that dating phase, you're trying to you overworking that's the
Yeah.
man now. He's trying to get in a good
He's trying to
graces.
get in her good graces.
Yeah.
Yes,
So you
yes.
should be. So if now
Yeah.
you're already saying she should, what's gonna happen when when everybody's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Nah.
I wish I can see her to ask if she paid actually, or she just packed her things and left.
What would you want her to, what would you recommend?
Though if it was me, I'll pack my things and leave. And you have to pay to send me back to where I came from.
What zodiac sign are you?
I'm Libra.
Oh, I see. No nonsense.
No nonsense. We're soft,
Yeah.
but to a certain extent.
No nonsense.
No. That's that. I mean, does inviting someone on a holiday, if we want to look at this on a bigger picture,
Yeah.
does it automatically mean that you have to pay for it?
So if it's, for instance, it's a girl's trip, you get what I mean?
Yes.
Or it's a guy's trip.
Yeah.
You guys know that, you know, right? Nobody's having
Yeah.
But when it's something that, you know, you are the man, especially again, coming from Nigeria, I'm speaking on my own ethnicity. You get what I mean?
Yes.
And because the way we see courtship from where we come from, it's you trying to, you know, it's like a businessman trying to convince his investors.
Yeah, you're trying to woo her.
You're trying to woo
say,
her.
I can look after you when you come into my home.
Of you.
Yes.
So how will you be trying to tell somebody you can take care of them by telling them to split
the bills for a meal, to split the bills for a hotel? So is she supposed to go and sleep outside? And what if she doesn't have the money?
Yeah.
And you just led her on to the trip. Red flags everywhere. Red flags everywhere. Oh my God, men are princesses now. Oh my God. Okay. So this is also about splitting the bill.
Oh
the
my
next
gosh.
question.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know what's I really don't know what's happening. I really feel sorry for our children and their children, because the word is this. I mean, okay. So she said, I split all the bills with my partner, even though he earns more than I do.
Okay.
I also do most of the cooking, the cleaning, etc. Sometimes I wonder, is this really a fair partnership, or am I just carrying too much load?
So in that case, like, for instance, it depends on, I don't know. She said he's earning more than her.
He's earning more than her, but she's still expected to split.
So is she splitting equally? Because that's another thing.
I don't know. She just said, I split bills. I split all the bills. So every single bill with my partner, even though he earns more than I do. I also do most of the cooking and cleaning. Of course, they never split that. Sometimes I wonder, yes, is this really a fair partnership? I mean, I would say it's a fair partnership, unless as I'm splitting the bills with you, you are also splitting the chores with me.
Exactly. And then even in the bill parts, right, it could be that if, for instance, it's any more, he would like bring in 40 or 80% of it.
Yeah.
Then it could be fair. Because he's earning more.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how they are able to, like, you get what I mean? Because again, what I was saying about that dating part, because they are boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yes,
so for
this
boyfriend,
one is married.
This one is
a relationship.
This is a relationship.
Yeah.
So I understand that. As I said before, when you're not in a relationship, you can now start talking about things like that. However, your income is higher than the other person.
Yeah.
If you have decided, because in some homes, the man will still stick to him footing
the
everything.
bill. Yes, that is what, you know.
But
yes,
now
that is what we
austerity
experience.
measures,
the
high cost of living crisis.
Please, you still have to be a man. You know,
it's not easy.
It's not easy. I know, but you know, there are some things that you should not be meant to pay for as a woman. I can say, okay, I'm going to do the shopping with my money, you know, do the little things here and there, shop for food for the house.
Yeah.
The children, if they want to buy like dresses or whatever, you know, but there are some things. I don't know exactly what she shares with her husband.
Yeah.
But you can tell that this is a woman who is not happy.
Yeah.
You know, for her to even send such a question.
Of course.
She's probably somebody who is not happy about the situation.
If she is, you know, contributing the same amount that he is also contributing as someone that is earning more, I feel like they should have a discussion about it because it doesn't make sense if he's earning, because even in taxation, even in the economy, as an economist, you wouldn't have to pay the same amount. Like, let's say you're earning like 30K pounds. Or let's say you are earning 200,000 naira, and then somebody is earning 1 million naira, and then you want the same 1 million naira person to still be
paying,
or the 200K person will still be paying the same tax as the 1 million naira.
Even HMRC understands that.
Exactly.
That
even you know what I mean? So
you know, like, it's crazy. I think okay, what is he doing with the remaining money?
And the thing
I
with
would want to know.
You know what? Because I had like a past relationship like this, whereby the guy, he would always say that austerity measures, he's doing this, so because of that he doesn't have money to like take me out, whatever. But when he did break up, right, I was seeing him with like he
would
had
do
money.
the same thing. Exactly. That's the thing. So this man would do what he's not doing now in this marriage with someone else.
Yeah.
He would even work 2, 3, 4
Of
jobs
course, he would
and
go
do
and
it.
look for. He would even take a loan. He would put his house as security
That
for
is
that
what
lady.
I always say. A man would do for you what he feels you deserve, and what he feels you've tolerated.
It's the ones that they don't have any plans for you. They always give excuses why they cannot, why they can't. So once he's just doing, get a big bag, this black, just fold him. I didn't say that word.
You didn't say that. And also, don't tolerate it. Probably she's tolerated it for too long. It has become a pattern.
Yeah.
He's used to it. So now that, you want to now talk about it, it's like, but you've been doing it since.
So that is why I said first date, things like this, talk about them.
Stop
talking about how spicy the chicken is and how it's not.
Yes.
When you go there, say, I don't like guys that will be telling. Just tell him now. So that if he is that kind of a guy, you would know.
You would know.
You are not already like neck deep into it.
Yeah, you will know.
Yeah.
And I told my husband from day one.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't even need
I
to
also
tell
told
him.
No, I told him.
I was like, I said,
this.
see, you can you see my life before you came in? I don't lack anything. So if you're coming in, you're just going to add to it, not remove from it. So you have to make sure that you're able to look after me, not just look after me, look after me the way that I deserve, the way even higher than I can do for myself.
Yeah.
So he knew from day one, I am not going to be doing 50-50. You pay 50% of the mortgage. I pay 50%. Am I a tenant in your house? Or I would rather just stay in my father's house then. And, and even at that, my father will still pay the house rent.
Actually.
Yeah.
Actually.
So when I see things like this, I'm always appalled. I'm like, is this really happening? Did they make this up? Because I honestly, I cannot relate to it.
It happens though. I've heard a lot of things like this.
Okay, let's move to the next one. I've been with my partner for years. We live together. We share the bills. We save together.
God, what's happening?
But we are not engaged.
Okay.
Did you hear that? So she's playing the role of a wife, but she's not a wife, right? She said, we live together, we share the bills, we save together. Mistake.
But they save together.
They save to our biggest mistake, but we are not engaged. I'm starting to feel like I've given wifey energy without a ring. Yes? Is it wrong to want financial, emotional commitment to match?
It's not wrong at all. It's not. Honestly speaking. But yeah, it's how long have they been dating?
I don't know. She hasn't missed she said for years.
Yeah.
So you've been with a partner for years. You're saving with the partner, which is like even so wrong. Like have your own account. Oh my God, you're living in the same. You're literally playing the role of a wife when you're not a wife.
As a banker, I wouldn't even advise that. Like you can save on your own, but we've seen so many cases, of things that happen when you do save together. I've seen a couple that, they saved together. It was not like all this, what they call it, joint account. I'm not against it. Well, maybe I might be against it, but do what makes you happy, what makes you sleep at night. But, they had this whole joint. And the funny thing is, my colleagues were talking about this whole thing. And all of a sudden, they came and said, the woman just said she doesn't want to go ahead with the marriage again. And then took everything literally and only left like, I think, was it £20 or so in the account, and just took everything.
That man must have hurt her real bad.
I don't know if he hurt her or she hurt him. I really don't know, but it was so devastating.
Yes,
you get what I mean? Like, so it's one of those things, I don't know what's wrong with you just saving
on your own.
Like,
and what's wrong with you living in your own house too?
Sometimes they want to like maybe split the bills and all that. So that is why a conversation is very important in any relationship and all that stuff. Like, What do you want? Do you
Yeah.
want a tenant? Okay, fine, I'm your tenant.
Yes, exactly.
Do you want like a sleeping
You want
partner, like
partner.
they call it friends with benefits,
Yes,
whatever, which
yeah.
I don't advise, especially for women, because we have the tendency of always like catching feelings. And
Yes,
men,
and overcompensating.
if they say they are going to be friends with benefit, they will keep that their word.
Yes.
I've never seen any man that changed his
Yeah,
mind. Maybe
yeah.
few, maybe 1%. I'm still yet to see. But you see, men, they will always keep to their words, but women will always change their mind. So you have to
yes,
really
yeah.
like, explain that relationship. So let her have a conversation with the guy. Like, what are we
And see
doing?
where they are going, what they are doing,
Yes.
because it's very obvious that the expectations are very different here.
Yes.
She probably has an expectation to be a wife. That's why she has
Yeah.
mentioned wife here. And maybe he has another expectation.
That's the thing, misalignment.
So you
So
need
they
to
need
talk,
to really
yeah.
talk.
So if you send this question, please have a sit down with your
100%.
boyfriend or your partner,
Yeah.
and have a talk. And I think from that talk, you will know where you actually stand.
Yes.
And then from there, you can then decide how to move forward.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have more questions? Yes, I think we have two more. Okay, I was raised to believe a man should be the provider. I've picked out a lot of the provider because I'm like, as I was reading them, I just couldn't. I was like, maybe I'm too old. I don't know. Maybe this is what is trending now. So she said, I was raised to believe a man should be the provider. My partner wants 50-50.
What's
Always
happening everywhere?
Sometimes I know. Sometimes I feel torn. Am I holding on to old school expectations, or is it just not the right match? It's not old school expectation. A man is a man, whether old school, new school, whatever school.
Yeah.
A man is a man. A man doesn't get pregnant, carry the children, give birth, look after. They are just roles that are meant for women that a man cannot fulfill.
Yeah.
There's nothing. My husband always says, no matter how much I love my children, there are some things that I just cannot do for them that you were born. Do you understand? Because you're a woman to do for them.
Yeah.
And that is true. And he will say there are some things that you can never do as a man that I was born to do because
so
I am
true.
a man.
Yeah.
Our thinking, our way of reasoning, everything is it's not the same. We were not built the same way. Women were built in a certain way.
Yeah.
Men were built, in a certain way, and which is true. So in situations like this, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. You're not old school for sure. I can say that.
Yeah.
Maybe, if you're looking for something and you don't have it, maybe keep looking. Yes, it's obvious that yeah, it's obvious that she's looking for something in a marriage or in a partner, and she doesn't have it. Well, she's not married to him, so that's a good thing.
What would you say if they are married? Do you think like she should still keep looking if the marriage is not working?
If they are married, I would say they should have a conversation. I would say they keep looking because, these are things that you talk about before you get married.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Marriage is not, it's not a joke.
Honestly speaking. So that's why I'm so like, into like that first date, especially, or let's say the first 3 months, because people are always saying talking stage, and then when you ask them what are you guys talking about, it's whether the sun came up that day, rain fell, have you eaten, have you what is that? That's the foundational stage whereby feelings have not really like setting. You might just be having infatuation or, oh, this guy is so fine and all that. But you need to be asking those salient questions, or you need to be signposting that, okay, I'm this kind of girl that likes things like this.
Yeah.
Don't hide yourself. If you're a girl that likes a guy to take you out to to eat and to like, don't go and be saying that I'm going to support you. I'm a very chill person. I don't really care. I don't really care.
Make your expectations known.
Amen. Once you say that, they'll just hit the nail.
They'll just hit the nail.
And that is how it will form the trajectory of the relationship. Meanwhile, deep in your heart, you're not that kind of a person.
Yeah.
So always stay true from the beginning.
Okay. I always offer to pay even when he says
These are the
he's...
things. Why are you off? That's what I'm saying. You know, you have set
What
that
is wrong with
precedent.
some children?
Yes,
Oh my God.
exactly.
Okay, let's wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay. I've always offered to pay even when he says he's got it. I don't want to seem like I'm taking advantage of him. But deep down, I wish I could just relax and be taken care of without feeling the guilt. So basically, you're doing this to yourself. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just going to be very, very, straight up.
If that is what she wants, to be taking care of herself, and the
Of
guy is not
herself,
taking care of
yes.
you,
And why are you offering to pay the bill when a man has taken you out, when he hasn't asked you to? And who told you that you're putting pressure on him? Did he voice that to you?
that's another
So you
very
need to sit
important
down
question.
and have this talk with him. He's
true.
probably not even thinking like that. He's probably thinking that's your love language.
Giving acts of service.
That's your love language.
Oh
Oh my God. Okay.
my, that was so
Faith,
funny.
it was so lovely having
Thank you
you
so much,
here
Ivy.
in her space. And
you.
thank you everyone for sitting and watching this episode. I hope you totally enjoyed it. And of course, follow us on our social media. Give us a like, and we'll see you in our next episode.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.